In today's episode, Dr. Valentina Onisor shares her questions and contemplations to assist all of us in connecting more deeply to who we truly are. May Valentina's questions spark a knowing within each of us to live more authentically, take greater responsibility for our lives, and live from a place of love and freedom rather than fear. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our show and to the beginning of our new series called Know Thyself, Questions that Facilitate the Return of Who You Truly Are. We're really happy and delighted to be able to bring this series to everybody over these next several weeks. And this is a little different than the series we've done before. What you're going to find is that these episodes are a little shorter episodes, and there's less discussion. There's more. We hand it over to the guest to share with us their specific question and then to unpack that a little bit for everyone. So just to give you an overview, Tay and I have heard so much from people just about how everybody's so confused, they're concerned, they're worried, they're scared. I mean, all of these things, and rightfully so. It's been a really crazy past couple of years. And that when they're in that state, they just don't know what to do. They don't know how to act. They don't know what decisions to make, all of these different things. And the problem is that when we get into that place, when we are really immersed in confusion or worry or concern or fear, no matter how much the world is pushing us to that, the problem is that we often then more readily hand our power over to others outside. We look for someone else to give us the right answer rather than looking within to try and find the right answer within ourselves. And so what we wanted to do was bring together a series where we brought back some of the different guests that we've really enjoyed our conversations with, that we think are very insightful, that have a very large perspective on what even the whole human spirit is about, and insights that can help us arrive at a deeper sense of self-authority and bringing back to who we truly are, so that we can then actually start to trust the insights that come within ourselves rather than looking for someone else to give us the answer. I think this is really important at all times. There's so many times that when we get into a place of confusion, we don't know, we want answers from somebody else. We want somebody else to give us the right answer. And it's very much a handing over. There's nothing wrong with looking for insights from other people, but ultimately what we want to do is then let that land somewhere within ourselves and then really make that choice based on what feels right within ourselves. And so these guests are all posing specific questions that have helped them arrive at a deeper sense of inner clarity. They're questions that we've listened to before, that we've posed before for ourselves. And what we wanted to do was bring all these people back, ask them to share with us what questions would they ask themselves and would they ask the audience to then contemplate to help us arrive at a deeper sense of who we truly are, a return to who we truly are, and a deeper sense of self-authority so that we can then really make decisions that feel right within ourselves and then live from that place of authenticity. That's really at the heart of what we're hoping to do with this series. So when you hear these questions, there's no right answer or wrong answer to them. What they are to do is just allow the question in, and I would take some time to contemplate with it, just sit with it. And if you can, I would unplug from media, unplug from other people for a little bit. Let that question sit within yourself. Journal about it, see how it sits for you and what your own truth is. This is what this whole series is about, is to allow that question in and then ask yourself and allow your own unique individual intelligence to help to give you the answer at this point in time that sits best for you. So I hope you enjoy this series. I've really enjoyed the questions that have come up, and we've taken time just over the last while to listen to those and to really journal about them and sit with them and see how they can help us to continually expand and expand and expand. So again, what this question means for myself or for Taya may be different than what it means for you, and it may be different than what it means for the speaker. What we need to do is just really feel, what does that mean for us at this point in time? And how does that play out in our lives? And are we living our lives from the awareness that gets drawn in from listening and contemplating on these questions? So I'd love to hear some feedback from the different questions too as you listen to them. I always like to know how these episodes affect other people, what insights are brought awareness to them. That's really our goal. I'm not trying to tell anybody the right way to do something. This is a self-exploration. This podcast is a self-exploration for me. I learn something every time we talk to these different guests, and it helps me shift and navigate my experience in this life. And that's all I'm wanting to do with everybody here, is invite you in on this journey that myself and my wife Taya are going to and have embarked on. So I love to hear feedback from everybody and let me know what you think. I'd also like to thank the sponsor for our show, C60 from Purple Power. And I was listening to an interview by one of the specialists in anti-aging named Ian Mitchell. And he's an inventor, biochemist, pharmaceutical developer. And he's worked with a lot of top performers, so Olympic athletes, NASA astronauts. And basically in his interview, he was talking about three major areas that they found C60 to be beneficial. Number one, he found that it made your brain stronger. And so he talked about how essentially C60 needed to be bound to a lipid in order to get into the brain past the blood-brain barrier. C60 from Purple Power uses 3 different carrier oils. It's one of the things I like about C60 from Purple Power. It uses olive oil, avocado oil, or MCT oil, which helps to get it past the blood-brain barrier. And what they found was that in that, once it got past there, it could help with neurogenesis. So you actually literally start to build more neurons. And not only do they build more neurons, they actually build what they call super neurons that could be 2 to 3 times longer than standard neurons, and that they were more efficient in producing energy. The other thing that they found was C60 can help you live longer. So this specifically was done around the rat study that they looked at in 2012, where the rats that were taking C60 doubled their lifespan. And Ian Mitchell believes that that's primarily due to the support for mitochondrial function. So mitochondria is that power plant of the cell, and that the C60 can help protect it from stress and make them more efficient. So essentially you can make more energy with less toxic byproducts. And the third thing that they found, and this is particular when he was working with Olympic pole vaulters, and he found that they had a significant increase in performance. And what he found was that C60 can actually help with the recruitment of muscle cells. So normally you recruit maybe 25 to 30% of recruitment when you are utilizing certain muscles. And that C60 had a specific dose-dependent curve, so that as C60 went up, you could actually even go up to doubling the amount of recruitment of that specific muscle, so you could get significant enhancement. A lot of the benefits we get from this is not necessarily from increasing the size of the muscle, but a lot of the strengthening gets from being more efficient. It's from increasing that neural recruitment, so we utilize more of the muscle that we already have. So if you guys have any questions on that, let me know. Otherwise, check out the link below for C60 from Purple Power and click that link, use promo code DRLOKEN, and they will give you 15% off your order. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Inspire Health Podcast as we continue on with our new series, Know Thyself. And today we're bringing back a really wonderful guest, Valentina Onisor. And Dr. Onisor is going to give us some insights from her perspective as far as questions that are going to help us to better get an understanding of who we are, a deeper understanding of who we are, to bring us back to a sense of self-authority. And for people that are new to this series, I'm going to let Taya is just going to sort of phrase a bit what we broke down around this series as far as why we think it's so important to do this at this point in time.
Sure. So Valentina, thanks so much for being here today as well. There's so many people right now that talk about how they're so confused and fearful and that they don't know what to do or how to act. And this ultimately leads to handing their power over to others to make their decisions for them. And so Jason and I felt compelled to pose simple questions, to bring simple questions to people in order to better know thyself, returning to a place of inner authority. The theme for this event is to self-reflect and really become aware and clear in one's own inner guidance / compass, and to support people in then acting from that place of courage and inner knowing. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing your question with the audience as well.
Great subjects and such a great choice you had again. Very inspired. So let's see if I'll talk about one question or 2 questions there.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, which I would start with, is to ask ourselves, what are the real obstacles that keep us from living an authentic life? Yeah, because as you say, we are handing so easily the power to others. And why is that? So, and why now? You know, we live in this situation of crisis of so many types right now. And there are right now two problems exacerbated, right? First one is for everyone to realize that we are contributing directly or indirectly to this world's crisis. And we really need to take some responsibility for it. Yeah. And the other one is that we cannot take any serious responsibility and we continue to play the game if we are not authentic. And anybody who is authentic can see that we're not maybe moving in the direction of the movement of consciousness in consonance with that. Yeah. So we'll not be able to see if we have set up this fundamental obstacle, which is to just get along with the agendas, right? This is the causing the problem, all this fake thing, right? All this political correctness, what you call leaders nowadays, newspapers, media, all is not even correctness, actually, you know, that everyone would agree with. It is correctness within a tent, right? A divided worldview. So this conflict is continuing, right? So nobody is authentic anymore and nobody can trust anymore nobody, right? So anyone who wants to move in a different direction has to do this with himself first and then expect that others will do the same, right? So authenticity is always in respect with yourself. So you are the one to judge, you know when you're authentic. So as you see, who am I is, you know, that question. This is why this question is important. And it has two poles, you know, what you are right now and what or where you want to be. And you can only push that, what you want to be, as clarity and wisdom is descending upon you. You cannot push it beyond that, you know, then it would be again something that you borrow. So it's like, for example, you know, in Christian tradition, they say just follow Jesus, you know, but it's just words until you experience that, yeah? So authentic is to hear and follow your own truth, your own heart, your own navel, your gut feeling there. Dare to do that, you know? There's power into being authentic, of course. And how to recognize an authentic person. I mean, this can be only when one starts to resonate with you. The more you become authentic and correlate with you, become you have co-travelers in that way. And otherwise, of course, you see everywhere superficial relationships, either people who manipulate you very easily, because it's very truly easy until we wake up to that authenticity, or they will be manipulated by you if you're so inclined to make a profit. Yeah. So in ancient times, this question, who you are, was formulated as who you really are. Yeah. So for people that have no intent to live in the world. But on the other hand, today, we want to live in the world because we realize that the world is important. Yeah. Now, I'm not even speaking about all the beauty of the Tibetan tradition and the bodhisattvas who realize that really we are one, and it makes sense when we transform together. You know, if just one is doing it, it's not really the thing. So for the last 400 years, science has shown us that we can change the world, you know, and make it better. So we cannot forsake that responsibility. You know, it's obvious that we are the caretakers at this moment, you know, until maybe some better species or something else will replace us. But now we have responsibility, each of us. Yeah. So it is utmost important that we know not only who we really are, but who we are today again, so we can move to what we want to be and to be aligned, whether it's about healing, you know, you can say that. So to be aligned in that direction, we need to also know very clearly which are our struggles, to recognize them, where we are. We have to start from somewhere, but for that you have to be authentic, as I say, to see your struggles, your defects, your good strengths of character as well, you know, all of that. How much we fake, you know, how much is real, all personality, and only then we can proceed, you know. And then also we need to be patient and resilient, you know. When you're serious to do something right, you need great resilience, you know, and you need to stay with that until you get that alignment, and then you can let go of it, you know. You let this divine flow to take care of everything. But until that happens, you know, You need a little work there, you know. That's why I'm saying patience and resilience has to be there, you know, until you get the hang of the flow, you know, and then the journey takes you and you don't worry anymore. Whatever happens is for your good. You become firm in the practice, as Sivananda was recommending, for example. But the thing is that we have to start with the first phase, yeah. This phase where you just go with the flow is not really the divine flow that is taking you. So again, what is fake? You have to see what is fake in what you manifest. Whatever constricts you constantly, repeatedly. You have to learn to practice mental hygiene, physical body, whatever problems are there. Open your heart if it's closed, navel chakra. Yeah. So, and then of course we need to recognize that some things you may not have come necessarily to do in this life, you know. So there is the limited amount that you can do in this life, in one life. And so it's kind of, you take limited portions. That's what we call dharma. So it helps to know that, because if you overreach and there are so many people nowadays, and I was also there, like that person which is just good at everything but doesn't really do something well, you know. So we may fail in what is called perfectionism, you know. So again, we need to learn patience, resilience, not have this scattered brain, because then that's becoming, of course, an obstacle. Yeah. And then you settle down. Eventually you settle down in what is called wholeness, where indeed everything is included, but you're not crazy anymore about it. You know, you're what is called really realistic. So that would be the first question that I would invite you to ask. So what are the real obstacles that keep you from living an authentic life? Yeah. And then if you want, I can add a second question, which goes hand in hand with this one, in my opinion and experience, which is maybe easier and maybe can trigger something in you. So the question is, how much love am I manifesting in my life right now? Are my actions based on love or on fear? Yeah. So many people are afraid of love. We are afraid of death because we are afraid of life. We are many times, after being hurt, we are afraid of love. And in this way, we stay away from transformation, from healing, from life. Yeah. And love is that caring that comes from the experience of non-locality, how we call it in quantum science. Yeah. So in its suchness, we call it love. And there is even a science to really learn how to fall in love and stay in love. And just check how is your relation with love, you know, and actually see about the power of love. Yeah. So there is a huge power there which is waiting for you, you know. And if you stay away from that power, you stay away from life, from transformation. It's how to say, you really experience a lot of power when you stay in your heart. But that power, it's a power that unites everything. It's not a power that empowers competition. It's a power that dissolves differences in a kind of synthesis, if you want, you know. So this power is experienced as neutral, and one needs courage to jump into this ocean of power that is not going anywhere. It's just there, and it contains all the potentialities in it, you know. And indeed, the experience of love, and of course, there are many stages in that, and it starts with loving yourself. It starts with really manifesting also that gut that is there, you know, like developing the navel area. So, but the experience of love is a gate to transcend all these dualities of the mind and to go beyond the experience of happiness and unhappiness. And when we have love in our heart, we are really able to do many things. And of course, first of all, we are authentic and free. And putting the heart into actions. So if one stops from an activity in order to love, it's clear that you're not in the flow of love, you know. And it's when we put the heart in our actions, it's coming like a spontaneous, effortless act, you know, and it doesn't require preparation. Yeah. So when we love, we do also whatever other actions on top of that. Yeah. And the manifestation of true love is freeing the soul, and it's manifesting in all our actions. So we can say, I mean, if you hear somebody say, I do this because I love you, it's just a trick of the mind. Yeah. So when we let love manifest into the actions, love will really find its way into the world. Yeah. So, of course, there is a very strong relation between love and freedom. And as long as you don't feel free in your relationships of any kind, not just with your lover, with anybody, and we express just reflections of love as if you're in a prison. So you're keeping yourself alone in a prison as a thing, you know? So love is spontaneous. And as long as you don't feel free in a relationship of any kind, love is not there. And then again, as long as you have fears, as long as you do certain things, even if you know they are not right, you know, when you cannot stop doing mistakes, all these are an expression of lack of love. So love also measures our freedom. And of course, freedom many times is misunderstood. It's this anarchic or destructive tendency never goes with love. So being an expression of love, freedom can be always checked in this way. And of course, it's one of the biggest dilemmas, freedom, especially nowadays, yeah? But again, love can really heat up all the hearts in the whole universe, and no one will limit the love for others. It will be really plenty for all. So these are the two questions that I would invite everyone to reflect upon.
Beautiful. Thank
Valentina,
you,
that was
Valentina.
beautiful. I'm just going to reiterate just to make sure that people hear that clearly. So these are the two questions that Valentina is talking about. So what are the real obstacles preventing you from living an authentic life? Part of that requires taking responsibility and the necessity to live authentically. And this is something that's been talked about lots over the past while, how important it is to actually live authentically and what that means. And we're going to know that. We'll know when we connect to the self. We'll know when we're living authentically and when we're not. You said a beautiful quote there. We are the caretakers of this moment. Mm-hmm. That touches my heart, just telling how important it is to live authentic life. Every moment we live authentically, we are taking care of this moment. The second question is, how much love am I manifesting in my life right now? And am I manifesting from love or from fear? Again, absolutely beautiful. And quote, true love is freeing the soul. So I would ask everybody, take a moment, take a few moments, contemplate these questions and see where they land for you. There's no right answer to all of this. This is a personal journey. So what's worked for Valentina and what awarenesses she's come to are going to be different than what Tay and I are, and they're going to be different for you. But let's all ask these questions and see if we can get a deeper sense of our authentic self and come from that place of love.
Wonderful. Thank you, Valentina.
Much love to you, Valentina.
Thank you, my dears.